So what we were doing was we were analyzing a client that has the. Let me actually clean this up first in order to make sure that. Um, so we were in a position something like this, and we know that 172.16.52, 182 is an attacker. And even I can say that, hey, do not exclude anything because this client seems interesting to me, and I would like to choose all the requests from this client and make sure that what is he doing. And in the x-axis, first of all, I will look for the URLs that he's asking for, and these URLs are going to be the page keyword. And if I run this, I will see that the default is the biggest one, and the product ASP is the second one, and without any URL, the root itself is actually the third one, and search and regex test ASPX. So those four URLs are his favorite. But remember, a URL includes one more piece, and that is not the page itself. So for example, let me show it here, right? Okay, anyway, so choose one here. It's actually maybe empty, but it will still give us an idea that. So this is the message, and if you look at that, the page itself is product ASPX, but this is the query string. Okay, so the query string, remember when you type in the URL, you see that there's a question mark at the end of the page URL, and then it continues all the way with some of the parameters separated with and sign. Remember that, right? So that is the query string, and I would like to look at that because when they brute force something on get, there has to be something changed on the query string. That's why I will look at to the query string, and in my visualize type, I come back and I will add one more thing to this URL, and let's see that what kind of a query string he's asking for, right? So I will split the series into terms, and these terms will be the query string. Okay. Now if I run that, I will see interesting things here. So for example, this one, query string is nothing. That means asking for default ASPX only, right? So that means that it doesn't seem to be interesting to me. And when we can look at that and try to make sure that is it something that 200 or 500, but obviously if he's asking for default ASPX with no query string, probably it is going to be 200, and we can look at that. But anyway, so our guys are right here. That's why I would like to eliminate the false, the noise. This is actually noise, what do you call it? Noise. And that's why I would like to change my filter to not default ASPX, because obviously it's not a kind of an attack for me. Maybe it is, but it's maybe a kind of an, let's say, denial of service or other things, but I'm looking for something specific here. That's why I would like to choose other than default. So in product ASPX, when I look at that, I see that the query string seems 3 dots. What does that mean? It means that is a lot of things, and they are all of them almost unique. That's why it is not being grouped into something. So for example, this one is actually product subcategory is equal to 18. That is occurred in 421 times. But this section, again, if I move my mouse to the other sections, I see that some of the URLs seems 15 times, or maybe some of them even 12 times. See that? But these guys are all different. Okay, some query string with all different parameters. So I can't imagine a person who can request a 3000 query string in a normal behavior, right? So that seems an interesting. That's why I would like to look at to the product ASPX page, because it seems an interesting. These guys are not seems an interesting because again, I don't see any query string here, and we're talking about get request. So that means that the root URL, probably we don't have anything for that. We don't have any problem. Again, for the search ASPX, we don't see any problem on that because that's also no query string, but it might be post request, by the way. And these guys also don't have anything fancy. So this is our guide. So I need to focus on product.aspx. Let's go back to the here, and now this is, instead of saying not, I will say and let's say page there will be a slash here. Okay. Come on. And product. Let's do this. Actually, let me show you something. It is. It is page. It has to be page. Anyways, I can do that easily right here. So you can add a filter here by clicking on the page itself right here. If I click on that, I will look at the subset of this search. This is going to be the product ASPX. And I need to see the query string, and let's look at the query string, and I will add that as a column. So that's going to be my column. As you can see, that column thing, it's going to add as a column. If I now collapse this thing, I see a lot of fancy stuff here, right? So obviously, this is a payload, and this guy is using an automated tool because the time frame for these requests are pretty close to each other. That means an automatic thing. And this is actually showing me that this is a SQL injection attack. And, you know, sorry? Yeah. So this is actually a SQL injection. We know that we can actually do the more analysis on the payloads, but if you look at for the user agents, probably you will get a little bit better idea what kind of a tool he is using. User agent. Okay, so he's smart enough to change the user agent of the SQL map. This is a SQL map tool, probably. I will probably use SQL map by myself, by the way. So, but user agent is overloaded. So you see that this is Mozilla, a normal browser, and as you can see, some of them are 200, some of them are 500 something. So we found a guy who is trying to do a SQL injection, and we can do more analysis on that. So this particular case. So we solved the case. Of course, you need to do more analysis for this guy if he is doing another things or not. So I would like to show you something else to find out why we include the geolocation. So this one is not going to work for us because the local IP address doesn't have any geolocation. But instead, I would like to use another visualization. So by the way, when you're done with this visualization thing, for example, you can save it, okay? And when you save it, you have this one and you would like to see that on, let's say, in a continuous manner, you can create a dashboard for that. So all you need to do is actually, let me come back to here. And when you see this picture screen for the first time, it's going to be empty. You can create a new dashboard by clicking add, by adding the visualization that you have created. So for example, we just created an HTTP attackers view a few seconds ago, right? So when I save that at here, let me show that how we can save that. And as you can see, it says save. When you save that, it is actually a visualization for your dashboard, okay? And when you come to the dashboard thing, you can add these things, you can remove these things, and also you can, for example, add other things. So for example, I would like to add HTTP attackers and also meetup. So side by side, we have two different dashboards, two different items, sorry. And I would like to add one more thing in order to design a dashboard. You can add more things, and I would like to show how you can do that. When you come back to the visualization, let me click on visualize. I would like to add one more thing. The other thing is a map, which is fancy. When you see a SOC environment, there has to be always a world map with a lot of fancy graph. You have to have that. That's mandatory, guys. Sorry, but you have to analyze the things, and also you have to have a screen with black background with green, text color, and it has to flow in a smooth manner. So that's also mandatory. But I have a good solution for that. So if you search for hacker typer, either this or maybe Geek Typer. So one of these actually doing a really good job on that. Okay, so for example, let's hide the taskbar here. That's actually how hackers can do. It is just a yeah. So, or you can use this one. So this is my favorite. For example, let's choose this. It actually has a lot of features. So when you log in, you can just type something like a username and password, and then you can show to your manager, hey, somebody's working here, you know, and then and then you can choose some interesting things, compiling things and downloading things. This is the SOC team, guys. So you have to have this. Unfortunately, that's why I'm gonna add world map to our dashboard. Okay, so the coordinate map. When you have the data enrichment in Kibana, you can add the coordinate map in order to find the location of an IP address. And this time I'm going to use the Logstash index. And this guy have some IP addresses. Should have some IP addresses. Let me see. Actually, let me use star. Yeah, it is unreliable. Actually, you can't do a lot of things for that. But I don't have any IP addresses with external IP now. But if I can do this, I will probably have some. Filebit. Let's publish my sample logs. It should have some. It should have some external IP addresses probably. What's that now? Log tutorial. Okay. Now if I do this again, no log. Okay. Anyway, so I just couldn't find any related log file. But if you have some IP addresses and also the external IP addresses in your dashboard, so you can create a map and you can add it to your dashboard right here. So you can add it, and actually I created an attacker map here. That's also can be added to the screen. Oh, okay, I have something. Maybe it's coming from my cache. I don't know. So this thing is showing you that where the IP addresses are located. But of course, you can do a lot of things for this. But if you see a big circle on China, that's maybe a flag for you to have a look at that. And of course, you can create more graphics here by adding. Let's click on visualize and then create here. Choose whatever is your favorite and do the filtering. What do you want to see, and then you can put that thing. So for example, number of logs depending on some filter. So for example, if you would like to track our clients, so this number is going. Maybe you can save it. And then you can track that. This is actually 172, let's say attacker. Okay, when you save that, you can add it to your dashboard by clicking add, and pretty straightforward, right? So that's not that complicated. And as a threat hunter, your job is not create something like this. But if you would like to have some fun, you can either use the hacker typer or you can design dashboards. Okay, let's go back to the real work. So what was the other thing that I would like to do? Okay, so external resources. So this is good. I mean, when you have the log resources like event logs, network flows, and all those things, so you have a nice centralized environment that you can create a filter for that. If you map the right fields for the right area, so for example, this is an IES log. When you parse that, if you say page here, if you use the same syntax for Apache logs as a page, you will see one filter that filters both Apache and IES logs. Remember, this is actually important when we are doing the manual analysis. We have to know the type of the log, right, before doing the analysis. But in this case, if you if you did the right parsing, you don't have to know the actual format of the log. So you can use the keywords that you're creating for different things. That's the thing. So lastly, I would like to do something fancy here. So for example, I would like to look at to the last 15 minutes and see how things are working in our side. So let's focus on, we can use this. So as you can see, we have nothing here, but what I would like to do is I will use my Kali box to attack to this guy. And in order to do that, first I would like to use my SQL map. I see that there is a SQL injection vulnerability, and I will use my SQL map tool to analyze and find the possible vulnerability or maybe exploitation on this particular server. And I don't want to detect that there is a bug enabled here, so I would like to continue. So it is a MS SQL server. Obviously, it is vulnerable. Let's go on, man. Find some problems for us. And while doing that, we're actually generating a lot of logs behind the scene. If you have the proper configuration, you can track the behavior at the same time and on your Kibana, so on your Elasticsearch environment. So it's going to populate here in 30 seconds. If your attacker is smart enough to finish his job in 30 seconds, then you are in trouble. So you may not see him in real time. So there is a lag because it's actually all log resources actually compensating collecting the log in some resources and then sending them all together, because sending every log one by one, it's creating a lot of work. That's why they are designed to send them together. Oh, by the way, we didn't start it. Okay, let's go on. Let's see the logs. Oh, it's not playing. That's why. Okay. There you go. We see some logs, SQL map. Somebody is using SQL map here. And I begin to see that there are 5 packages here, 5 packages here. See that? It's pretty flowing. And if you write the right keywords here or maybe the filters here, you can real-time monitor the things and look at the right things that really matters for you. And this is good for tracking the things. As you can see, there's an exception here, and this one is actually coming from the log file instead of the Windows event log instead of the IES log. As you can see, it's an actual stack trace. It's been exception. It's an exception, SQL client exception, and you can see all the details. So that's actually a pretty good case to analyze. And lastly, I would like to show you something really cool, guys. That is my Twitter thing. So if you would like to integrate the external things on Logstash, that's possible, and Logstash is actually a really good tool for that. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to use the sample 5. Where is it? Right here. Okay, please don't copy my Twitter thing because it's my account. Oh, actually, I will delete that after the meetup, of course. It's too late. If somebody is doing this real-time development right here, he can use my, Twitter thing. Logstash configuration. I would like to add another input here as Twitter. Okay, so let's delete this thing. So Twitter needs some thing, and it's going to look for some of the keywords. That is threat hunting. Now I want you guys to do some favor for me. Let me actually stop the attack here. Now, okay, thank you. And I want you guys to tweet about something by using the threat hunting hashtag in order to see that in our dashboard. So what we did actually is pretty straightforward. We tell that Logstash, hey, there is a resource that is Twitter, and this is the credentials that you can use to log into the Twitter, and this is how you can pull up the keywords that matches with the list. So that is obviously threat hunting, and I will try something. Anybody is trying it? No? Come on, guys. Tweet something. You're tweeting? Okay.
But this tweet source comes only from your account. So what's
No.
the difference other guys?
No. This is actually it's going to come from the all internet. So as you can see here, somebody just be careful. Who's that? Who's that? Is there somebody here? Be careful. Huh? You are? Okay. So he is saying that need up learning about threat hunting. So that's a message that you can pull up from Twitter, and as you can see, that's a good resource. If you would like to track your brand name, your company URL or whatever that thing, it may also create a risk for you. And hackers usually use the Twitter a lot to make some decisions. So, for example, in my case, when I was working for Presidency House in Turkey, unfortunately, so Anonymous always announced that Operation Turkey, and they attacked to our website. So I created a bunch of small scripts to collect all this information from Twitter, but obviously you can integrate to your favorite threat hunting environment by using Logstash. By the way, Logstash doesn't have to send a log to Elasticsearch. In this case, we're using Elasticsearch, but you can use Splunk as a aggregator, and then you can forward this log to Splunk. Splunk is also going to display the Twitter thing to you. So it doesn't matter which platform you're using. It's a plug and play, so you can use either one which works for you. All right, so that is today's topic. Do you guys have any question or any comments or would like to add anything?
We can add the RSS feed or something like that.
Exactly. You can add a lot of things. Actually, Logstash have HTTP reading, HTTP input parser, which means any HTTP URL can be used as an input to Logstash. And also, you can send it to Elasticsearch and search for that. Somebody is sharing something on you, you can use that. Or even, I see somebody use the Google search as a input plugin. When you use that, you can actually use Google search to search something on Google and pull the result and send it to Elasticsearch. You can actually, imagine whatever you can do. So not only limited with the, threat hunting is not only limited with the resources inside your network, but also you have to keep an eye on the outside. That's how you can do. Just give you a tease on that.
Can we check